Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Nemesis Gaming League, where the grind continues. We are back for our third and final match of the night. We go down to the Novice League. We have the 10-4 Pawns going up against the 10-4 Whelps. Your boy, Psychonautic in the booth, ready to bring you some of that sweet play-by-play action straight to your living room, and I am joined by my El Capitan, GM of the War Room, Speed Demon. How you doing tonight, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, Psycho. You know, we played our game earlier, we got the dub, and now we're here casting this hype, novice matchup where potentially the winner of this can find themselves in sole possession of first place in this Novice League, as we got a crazy three-way tie at the top of that Novice League where Frost, Whelps, and Pawns, as we're seeing two of them here tonight, are currently tied. A little bit of information going on here. If Pawns manage to win this and Frost wins, Pawns would tiebreaker remain as top number one seed. Whelps and Frost both manage to win. Frost will take number one. However, if Frost loses, whoever wins this game will also take sole possession of first place. So there's a bunch of different scenarios going on based off of tiebreakers and everything like that. So it's definitely huge for this novice matchup for these two teams.
Yeah, I would say so. There's a lot on the line, pretty much regardless of the scenario. You know, a loss here is going to be detrimental, and a win here is going to be monumental. And you know, we've got some good players on the field here. We've got on the Whelp side, we've got Mr. Marino as the captain, and then we have, I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull it up, Jeff Masters, the commentator, and we've got Grebsy. And then on the Pawns, we've got Threat, Malo, and Mr. Silent, who is also the captain. And I'd also like to point out that I believe it was Mr. Silent who just got Player of the Week. I just looked it up and then I forgot it. Yes, Mr. Silent, Week 6, Player of the Week, but also Week 1 was Jeff Masters Player of the Week. So we've got, on both sides, we've got a Player of the Week here in the Novice League. We've got two Mr. Captains. I think this is going to be a hot one. Speed.
Yeah, it really is. Both teams looking great. Both teams have, star talent on their rosters. They're 10-4 for a reason, so I don't expect anything less of a absolute stunning performance here from both teams, especially heading into the stretch.
And I'm not sure, I can't see. I wish they never changed this, but I can't see all the players. I think we got all the players in here. If we don't, hey, we can wait a little bit longer, but let me get it from you, Speed. Let me hear your caster prediction. Who do you think is going to take the dub here tonight, Whelps or Pawns?
Yeah, it's definitely a close call, but with how the teams have been doing as of recently, I think I'm going to have to give the advantage here to the Pawns tonight. They've just been looking hot recently. Just did come off of a sweep off of the Ninjas, but Whelps have lost, I believe it's 4 of their last 5 games. So they got some proving to do to stay on this top seed.
Yeah, I would agree. They definitely got a little bit of work. They've been not having they've not been having the best second half of the season, especially compared to the first half of the season. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Silent getting the first goal of the night is not looking good for the Whelps. So far as barely 15 seconds gone from the clock before the Pawns were able to find the back of the net. Mr. Marino trying to get it out of the corner. Threat putting it back in front of the net, but Jeff Masters able to make the stop. Grebsy pops it up. Can't get the follow. Jeff Masters trying to play a little bit more patiently. Mr. Silent to take it away from him. Mr. Marino off of the ceiling, gets the touch, sends it to the mid. Threat missing his touch. Malo just going to bang that all the way across to Mr. Silent, who gets it past the defense in the midfield. This could be something. Mr. Marino gets back to it. Malo with a huge shot, but it's going to get blocked away. Jeff Masters pops it up, trying to buy some time for the Whelps. Mr. Marino trying to get it out, but Malo sends it back out of the corner. Threat popping it up. The Pawns are on an offensive charge right now. Malo off the backboard, waiting for a teammate. Jeff Masters to get the clear, and that was dangerous, but Threat made it back in time, and a little over a minute gone so far here, Speed. Pawns up by 1, looking good. Whelps getting suffocated at the moment.
Yeah, they really are. You know, they've had a couple breakouts, a couple decent looks, but for the most part, they are still getting suffocated. But, you know, other than that quick opening goal kickoff, you know, they've done pretty good to maintain the pressure that the Pawns have continued to just pound down on them. So, you know, it's only so much before a team can break. You know, you can only hang on so much, Psycho.
Yeah, that's true. You can only hang on so much. Whelps still having to hang on as the Pawns are not relinquishing their hold on the offensive pressure. Jeff Masters just trying to get it out of the midfield. Pops it up, but Malo going to take it away from him. Mr. Marino pops it out to the mid. Grebsy's there. Can't get a solid touch on the ball. Threat going to knock that away from his net. Threat awkward under the ball, trying to get a touch. Mr. Marino to take it away. Mr. Silent to take it from him. Pops it up. He might have a look on net, but he messes up his recovery. Can't get back in front of the ball. And Grebsy to send it out as we reach the midway point of this match. Game number 1, this best of 5 series. Pawns still up by 1. And I mean, I got to say, unless the Whelps really start to play like I've seen them play, like we've all seen them play. They've been on stream several times this season. This is not the Whelps that we're used to seeing. There's a double commit that just came out from him. This looks like a very nervous Whelps, a Whelps that maybe hasn't been playing together so much in the latter part of this season. Speed, what do you think?
I don't necessarily think that it might not been them playing together. I just think that they have so much to prove right now with them coming off of, you know, a little bit of a rough spout, losing streak. So I think it's the whole thing is just starting to get to them. You know, they had all this hype surrounding them to start the season, and now, you know, they're kind of falling off a little bit. So it's just one of those things. It might be a mental block. Just, you know, oh, we were doing this and now they're struggling. So I think they just need to really try to clear their mind and get things back on the right track, as they have had some good chances. They've had 3 shots on target, and, you know, Pawns do have 6, getting the last 2 or so in the last 30 seconds. So they're keeping it pretty close so far. The scoreline doesn't quite show it.
Yeah, they have been definitely ramping up their offensive pressure in the latter part of this match. And with around 60 seconds remaining, they still need to find the back of the net to at least tie this game up and send us into an overtime. So they might be able to get a look on a second goal. Maybe into the regulation. We'll have to wait and see. Pawns not interested in allowing that to happen. They're still keeping it up. Mr. Silent is there, trying to get it back in front of the net. He does successfully. That bounces off of the post there for a second. I thought that was going to awkwardly roll in. Mr. Marino doing everything he can. The double commit comes out from the Pawns. Grebsy with the touch. Grebsy can't get it through Threat, but Jeff Masters there to help him out. Mr. Silent to take it away from him. Mr. Silent out of the Whelps corner, off the ceiling, but can't follow the ball. The final 15 seconds ticking down. The Whelps have to make an offensive push right here. This may be the final chance that they have at tying things up here in game 1. Mr. Marino going, but can't get it through the defense as he's met with the 50. The ball only needing to touch the ground. Now Malo to get the final touch, send it down. Pawns taking game number 1 away from the Whelps. Looking pretty good, I gotta say. Whelps, though they did start to get a little bit more geared up in the latter half of that match, Speed, they're gonna need to really, really pull the stops out here against the Pawns, I think.
Yeah, they really are. And the whole Whelp squad as a whole, you know, they started to get more pressure. They started to look really good at the end and turn it up. But also so did Mr. Silent. You know, there was a minute 15 left. Mr. Silent only had 3 shots, and he ended up with 6. So in the last minute, himself for the Pawns put on 3 pretty good looking shots, scary attempts as well. So if you're the Whelps, you really have to, I think, work on shutting down Mr. Silent here and just get back to, you know, playing as a team as we all saw at the beginning of the season, and just clear your head and start over fresh.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Whelps will be looking to do just that as we move on to game number 2. They're going to be looking to get a goal as Grebsy puts a shot on but can't get it through. Malo making a great save at the last second to keep that ball out. Mr. Silent getting a look himself. Grebsy there just in time to make the save. Mr. Marino with the touch that's going to send it through the defender. Mr. Silent not going to let that drop in front of the Pond's net. The ball's popped up. Malo going to meet it up there and send it into the Whelps corner. Mr. Marino missing his touch, but Grebsy there to help him out. Grebsy gets it past one in the midfield threat there out of the corner, sticking with it, but gets absolutely destroyed by Mr. Silent there, rotating ball side. Looks like they're having a little bit of a communication error there. Two of the pawns seem to be in the same area, but it works out as Thread sends a beamer across to the mid. Malo there to send it through the defense.
Yeah, and that's a great play right there by Threat. Finds the open man. Great positioning by Malo to be there. Had just caught 2 of the Whelps defenders sitting on their back heels in net, and that's not what you want to see if you're a Whelps fan here. They struggled a little bit in game 1. They had some good shining moments, but you definitely don't want to go down a minute into this game 2.
Yeah, that is a pretty tough position to be in, but the Whelps, I'd have to say, are probably one of the few teams that we could look at and be 100% sure of. They have the propensity to come back from a situation like that. They have, even though they've kind of fallen off in the last couple of matches, not been playing their best, they have already proven themselves earlier in the season that they are capable, do have the capacity to make turnarounds, make big plays, and we'll see if they're able to do just that here. If the Pawns are able to keep a lock on this Whelps roster, as Mr. Marino gonna get a sniper from the midfield.
Yeah, and that's beautiful placement right there by Mr. Marino. Mr. Silent, not much he can do there. I don't think he expected that either. But even if he did, that's a tough shave for these novice players to try to make. So good hats off to Mr. Marino, putting it on target, trying to make something happen, and tying this one up with still plenty of time to go.
Yeah, and I gotta say, in Novice League, that's a huge skill to have right there, to be able to hit the ball that hard and accurately at the net from the midfield. You're going to catch a lot of novice players out of position, not necessarily out of position. They're just, like you said, Speed, they're not expecting that boom to come. They're seeing their 2 teammates there and they're thinking, oh yeah, there's going to be, a defensive situation here. And then that boom just comes and they're not expecting it. It goes over the head, goes in.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. If you can keep your opponents on their toes, especially in this Novice League, that's definitely one way to take a team by surprise and turn the outcome of a series here. And Mr. Marino did that excellently. And 30 seconds later, they're still looking pretty good. They get in a lot more pressure, kind of putting Pawns on their heels now, and they're looking pretty good here, Psycho.
Yeah, they're definitely looking a lot better than they did in game 1, though they still got some work to do. We are tied 1-1 with just over 2 minutes left on the clock, and we'll see which team is going to break first. Will it be the Pawns or the Whelps? Mr. Silent going up, getting his touch, but doesn't go towards the net. Malo with a shot on. Grebsy going to make the stop and pick up his savior medal for game number 2. Malo with the touch. Threat just a little bit too close. His touch pops the ball up. Trying to go for the demo. Jeff Masters ending up getting the demo on Mr. Silent instead. But the ball does get popped back towards the Whelps defensive zone. Mr. Marino off the backboard. He's awkward. Can't stick with the ball. Jeff Masters trying to help get the ball out of the Whelps defensive zone. Malo up. Misses his touch. Threat not able to take advantage of the fake from Malo. Or the possible fake from Malo, I should say, as I think it was just a missed touch. But, Speed, sometimes those missed touches work out so perfectly that you just got to take credit for the fake, especially in Novice.
Yeah, sometimes fakes or missed touches, as you said, they work out in your favor, and they also can hurt you, as your teammates might think that you're going to hit it. So it all depends on how your comms are. But right now, both teams kind of blowing trades as we head into the final 45 seconds. as, you know, Mr. Silent really trying to make something happen here. It's kind of been fairly quiet this game number 2.
Yeah, can't lie about that. And it looks like, I mean, the Whelps, they're not playing bad, but none of them are playing spectacularly at this point either. They're doing, it seems like, just what enough to sort of keep the pawns at bay. And it looks like they're almost not able to do that. Mr. Marino making a stop on the goal line there as we wind down the final 15 seconds here. Pawns looking to close this thing out and get the second win in the series. Whelps just doing everything that they can to push us into an overtime, as Pawns have just taken back over the offensive pressure here in the final 15 seconds of this game number 2. But the ball is going to get touched down there. We do have an overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Pawn versus Whelps, game number 2. Speed. If you had to say, who would you say has the upper hand here, Pawns or Whelps?
It depends. I think if this is going to be ended early, I think the Whelps might be able to, you know, find one out. Oh, as Mal is going to put one on, and a great save there by Grebsy. But I think the longer this game goes into overtime, it just keeps going into Pawn's favor, as they've just proven to continually come on top of this Whelps team so far today.
That's a good. That's a pretty good assertion. Jeff Masters just missing that touch, accidentally backflipped instead of forward flipping. He might have had a shot. He did have a shot on a practically empty net, but as unfortunate, didn't go in his favor. Whelps still, though, maintaining the offensive pressure. The ball finally does get cleared out. Threat trying to keep with it out of the midfield. Malo going up the wall, but not near the ball. Mr. Marino going to slow things down a little bit. Looks like some communication errors coming out from the Whelps there as Grebsy takes it away. Jeff Masters with the touch. This could be dangerous. His threat puts one up. Mr. Silent there looking for the double touch off the backboard, but not going to find it. Grebsy trying to get the ball out. Mr. Marino's there as well. Grebsy with the boop up. Jeff Masters there, finds it, sends it down. Nobody else from the Whelps there to help out Malo to boom that one away in a minute and 30 seconds into this overtime so far, Speed. And I'm starting to sit closer and closer to the edge of my seat. I got to say, the tension is building in this arena.
And it really is. As a demo comes up from Miss Marino, opening things up, but unable to get... Oh, and we got a miss here by Malo. No. And the dunk by Jeff Masters to seal game number 2 for the Whelps and get them back in this series, as we are now tied heading into game number 3, Psycho.
That's a feels bad moment right there for Mr. Silent, as he gets in front of the ball, but just is a little bit too slow to get his car into a good 50 position. And Jeff Masters just going to absolutely clobber the ball off of the top of his car right there and take home the W. And Whelps got to be feeling good about that. I got to say, you know, they weren't looking so good in game number 1. They weren't looking super great in this game either. They did start looking a lot better in the overtime. And I think that's where they sort of found their groove. So I'm interested to see if Whelps are able to keep that groove moving into game number 3, or if Pawns are going to flip the tables on them again, Speed.
And it's really tough, you know, when you're relying on your team to make multiple saves. Whelps had, I believe it was 8 or 9 saves that came out for them, as Pawns put up 11 shots. However, they only put up 6 shots themselves. So if they want to consistently pick up wins in this series, they're going to have to limit the shots that they're taking and start putting more shots on target themselves. So that's going to be a big key factor here heading into the rest of the series, is how much more offensive pressure can they get? Because, again, I'll say it again, a team can only hold on so much when you're under constant pressure.
Yeah, and that's very true. It's true in pretty much all the different, I would say all the way up to the pro level, it's true. Eventually a defense is going to crack. And as you said it, the Whelps pretty much putting it into play here. They're being much more aggressive so far in this game than seemingly they have been the first 2 games. But the Pawns are currently controlling the offense. The ball gets yeeted from the midfield back into the Whelps corner, and Malo's there, takes advantage of a sleeping Whelps defense.
Yeah, and Malo, great positioning, sneaks in there, able to sneak it in between 2 of the Whelps defenders, and again, just little mishaps coming up from this Whelps team is causing them to go down early in these games. And with how much little offensive pressure they kind of have built up in this series, it's just going to drain them even further and further, as they're going to have to just keep pushing harder and harder, which they can't really afford to do because their defense has to be spot on.
Yeah, I agree. The Pawns are definitely feeling themselves right now. They're being fairly accurate throughout the series so far. Currently sitting at a 50% shot accuracy, which is definitely not a bad shot accuracy to be sitting at. But we'll see if the Whelps are able to generate enough offense right here. The triple commit from the Pawns. Grebsy gonna take advantage, and disaster strikes in the defensive ranks of the Pawns.
Yeah, that's a big bump right there by Jeff Masters. A little help out from the Pawns themselves. 2 whiffs, 2 misses coming out. So, good on them for being able to capitalize on the Pawns' mistakes. And great heads-up play there by Jeff to clear the one remaining player that could have made a play on that.
Yeah, you love to see the bump plays come out. Jeff Masters with the put. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure what's going on right now, but Jeff Masters got a great touch right there. And where are the Pawns going?
I don't know. Again, another double miss. Great touch there by Jeff, finding his teammate wide open in the middle of the field, giving themselves the early lead as well now, as they are up with 3 minutes to go by 1 goal. And, this is definitely something. But Mallow says, nuh-uh, not yet. Coming back, and we're going to tie this one back up and go into a stalemate again.
Mallow with the immediate clap back off of the kickoff. Not interested in hearing it. He's ready to kick it up a notch and bring things back. 2-2 now with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left on the clock. Jeff Masters sends it over to Grebsy, pops it up to the mid. Nobody from Pawns back. This could be dangerous, as Mr. Marino's going to take an easy shot, take the lead once again. Pawns going to have to pick up the defense here, Speed, I got to say.
Yeah, their defense hasn't looked so good here in Game 3, but they also haven't faced this much pressure coming up from the Whelps yet. So, it's hard to say if their defense maybe isn't as good as we thought they were, or they just weren't quite ready and expecting the Whelps to really come out firing so hard. But I can see why both these teams are 10-4. We're starting to see a high-scoring action, and, this is turning out to be a great showing here by both teams.
Yeah, I mean, oh, man, Jeff Masters with another shot there, though. Gonna go wide. Grebsy in the midfield. Grebsy trying to stick with it. He does get the dunk. Mr. Silent, though, gonna boom that ball away. Threat playing up, but not able to get any sort of touch on the ball. Jeff Masters with a big clear off of his backboard. Mr. Silent pops it up, bouncing off of the ceiling. And Grebsy gonna bang it. Jeff Masters is up off the backboard. Whelps could do something here. Grebsy was there, but gets beat out by the defense. Threat with the boot. And him playing up finally pays off. A huge play from Pawns.
And I was not expecting that play. I was expecting Threat to go for the bump or demo, and I think that's what he might have been trying to do. But it works out in the end for the Pawns here. Threat getting the touch. Thankfully, it didn't hit off of the backboard, and they're going to tie this one up with 2 minutes to go. And again, this game is just turning into a stellar performance by both teams. I don't know what's going to be happening next, but I'm excited to watch the rest of this series for sure.
And there's a little under 2 minutes left of this particular game number 3, and we are tied at 3, oddly enough. But we'll have to see if this moves into yet another overtime, as game number 2 did, or if one of these teams is able to take the lead, hold the lead, and then move into a match point position in this game 5 series, or this best of 5 series, excuse me. Jeff Masters with the ball. Jeff Masters trying to find the 50, but it's going to go in favor of the Pawns. Mr. Silent pops it out, trying to get it in front of the net. Mr. Marino with the touch. Jeff Masters in the midfield. Pass 1, Jeff Masters to follow. Can't get another touch on it as Malo sends it away. Malo trying to stick with it. Grebsy going to miss the ball and fake out Malo. Threat in the backfield. Threat to stick with it. He's trying to fake out the defense, but Grebsy going to get a touch on it, take it away. And the Pawns now just seemingly toying with the Whelps as they're just not allowing the Whelp speed to get out of their defensive zone. This is the first time Grebsy right there was the first time Whelps had been out, and it felt like almost a minute. But the Pawns, starting to show a little bit of what they were doing in game number 1.
Yeah, and this game, unreal. As a great save comes out there by Mala on a beautiful shot by Jeff. But 20 seconds left. We're looking really, really close and tight here, and I think this is going to go another overtime here. Unless Jeff Masters trying to beat him to the ball into the goal. Gets the demo, but unable to put it on the net. Oh, that's heartbreaking there if you're a Whelps fan.
That was unfortunate for sure, as that definitely should have been a goal scored, but it wasn't, and we are now moving into an overtime and game number 3, the second overtime of this series. Whelps able to pick up the win and the overtime from game number 2. Will they be able to repeat that in game number 3, take the win here and move into match point position, or will Pawns secure that win and secure that match point? As we see a little bump, a team bump coming out from the Pawns there. Mr. Silent gonna just demo Mr. Marino as the fight of the misters comes out. Only one will remain. The ball gets pinched out of the corner. Grebsy there with it. Grebsy trying to follow, trying to look for something. Malo to take it away from him. Mr. Marino pops it up. Can't find a second touch. Mr. Silent sends it away. Grebsy to keep the pressure. Jeff Masters up, but Threat gonna knock the ball out of his path. Jeff Masters with a touch as he rotates out, trying to keep things alive for the Whelps. Mr. Marino with the shot. He's gonna hit the bar, go down out of the post. Grebsy trying to stick it in, but Malo to get in front of it. And a minute into this overtime speed, the Whelps just putting it on. They're up to 9 shots now.
Yeah, they are. They're really putting it on. They want this game really bad. But the Pawns looking good still, not quite getting shots anymore and kind of on their defensive end. But when they are breaking out, they are making good things happen. As Mal's trying to get something to go right here. As he hits it off the backboard, and he's going to follow it up, and he's going to put it away and seal game 3 as the Pawns take the 2-1 lead in this best of 5.
And that 1 minute and 30 seconds in overtime, Pawns take the win, take the lead in the series. Malo stepping up, getting the MVP for his team, and putting the Pawns into a great position for this series. That's got to feel good. I feel like Pawns were pretty much in their defensive zone for most of the game that game. And they definitely were outshot by the Whelps. However, they clutched up when they needed to. They had 6 shots, but they had 4 goals. So that was their accuracy was on point. And moving into game number 4, Whelps could be looking at a loss here. Could be looking at taking the big L and going home. Or they definitely got to clutch up. They got to bring back whatever they brought in game number 2 and take these Pawns to a game 5.
Yeah, and anything can happen in this game 4. We've seen both teams pop off, have huge offensive heavy streaks, and at the end of that game 3 there, Psycho, I forgot I was casting. I'm sitting here and my draw was hung open, and I'm just watching, and I didn't know what was going to happen next. I didn't know what team was going to, start with all the pressure and have all the pressure, and what team was going to come up with all these awesome, amazing saves. But Pawns came out with it. Putting the Whelps on the back heel here, putting them on elimination match for this series. So, Pawns, this is really their Whelps. This is really their go time. Coming off of the rough streak that they're on. They've had good presence here in this series. They just got to put another full game together and try to force this into a game 5.
They certainly do, and I'm sure that they will be doing just that. Jeff Masters trying to get the ball in front of the Pawns net. Mr. Silent taking control of it. Threat pops it in the mid. Jeff Masters to put it off the Pawns backboard. Mr. Marino up for it, but Jeff Masters gonna get his own pass coming in and just murdering.
And that's a great play right there by Jeff. Great read, getting back up, finishing that. Mr. Marino came close to making that save on his way down from his own teammate, but luckily Jeff slots it in just past him, giving them that 1-0 lead. And this is the start that you want to see here out of the Whelps to try to, bring this back and force a game 5.
Yeah, this is exactly what they have to do. And now that they've got the advantage, albeit a very, very small advantage, they have to control it. They have to control the pace of this match. They need to play smart. They need to play methodical. Mr. Marino gonna do just that as he stays up, catches the assist from Jeff Masters, and takes a 2-point lead for Whelps.
Yeah, Mr. Marino hit the weight room earlier today, out-dunked Mr. Silent there. So we got that Mr. battle going on between the two captains yet again. And Whelps looking really good in the first minute here in this game number 4. They do not want to go home without seeing at least a game 5.
Yeah, that is certainly true, and you can tell they got it in their sights. They're not going to let this one go. There is still plenty of time as we're just under 4 minutes. Pawns certainly capable of bringing this one back. They have plenty of time. Malo off of the backboard to threat. Gets a huge play for the Pawns right there, cutting the lead of the Whelps in half.
And that's a great play right there by Malo, choosing not to shoot that, going off of the backboard, knowing that his teammate's going to be there. That's a great heads-up play there by a novice player that you don't see too often. You kind of see them want to be greedy, want to get the goal, put the shot on target, but him making the right choice there, knowing that his teammate was there, and all-around great team play by the Pawns. So keeping them in this game, 1-goal deficit now, and they're starting to turn it up and not let the Whelps take over this game.
They're certainly capable of coming back, even in the final minute. As long as they're able to continue communicating, Pawns seem to be fine. There's been a couple of breakdowns of communications, a couple of double commits. In that game number 2, they were just having a terrible time defensively, I think, Speed. Their rotation seemed to always be off. There was never anybody back. However, they seem in game number 3 and in game number 4 here, they have cleaned that up. They are still trailing by 1, Speed, but I think it's just a matter of time. They're about to come back. Malo with the shot threat to follow up, and as I say it, it comes into fruition.
Yeah, and that all started right there by Mr. Silent. Great clear, putting it on target, just missing the double attempt, but leads the missed shot, the missed opportunity right to Malo. Malo putting it back on target, and they're looking really good. Bouncing back, that's what you want to see out of a top contender team, is their resiliency and not getting down 2 goals early on into a game really affect you.
Yeah, most definitely. That is good mental, because sometimes going down 2 is just destroys a team. But it's good to see the Pawns were able to keep a strong mental. Ended up coming back. 2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. Now we got a tied ball game at 2. Grebsy in his defensive zone, trying to stick with the ball, gets it past 2 of the Pawns, gets the pop. Mr. Marino with the double commit on him, but Jeff Masters was back. He gets the touch threat in the mid. Malo off the backboard. Jeff Masters gets it past Mr. Silent, but Threat takes it away from him. Mr. Silent sticking with the ball in the corner. Mr. Marino pops up. The ball is shot from outside, but it goes wide. With a minute and 35 seconds left on the clock, Threat in the midfield. We still got a tied ball game here, Speed, and I don't know, it looks like both of these teams have sort of, I don't know if it's figured each other out or what the deal is, but they're going back and forth in the midfield. Neither one's allowing much offensive pressure as Jeff Masters gets a save from a shot from Threat.
Yeah, both of these teams, kind of looking like we did for most of game 3, going back and forth, trading blows, and it's getting really interesting. We're down to a minute left. You have the Whelps on elimination match point right now. Pawns looking to finish this in 4. Whelps trying to force a game 5. And, it's just getting really exciting as I don't know what's going to happen next. And it's really hard to just sit here as, Grebsy with the backflip, almost missing it, but gets his teammate, has his back, thankfully, as we're heading into the final 30 seconds here.
Yeah, Jeff Masters with a huge help to Grebsy right there as he misses it, but Jeff Masters was there for that save, which saved the Whelps. In the final 30 seconds, we might, ladies and gentlemen, have our third overtime in a row, game 2, 3, and possibly game 4 going into overtime here. Both of these teams with an overtime win so far in this series. So this is anybody's ball game at this point. The final 5 seconds tick down. Mr. Silent having one more shot here. He gets just demolished off that ball. He got bodied, and the ball gets put down by the pawns. And here you go, Speed. We've got our third in a row overtime for the series.
And would you really expect anything less from, two of the top 3 teams in the Novice League? Because I wouldn't. This is a barn burner of a series. Both teams looking fantastic, looking playoff ready, trading blows as Threat, Mr. Silent with a huge demo trying to open things up for this Pawns team. The shot coming out by Mao off the post and wide as this Pawns team is coming out firing hard here in this Game 4 overtime.
A close one there for the Whelps as the Pawns almost able to snipe through that shot. Saved merely by the post. The ball does get pinched out. Jeff Masters there, bangs it away. Mr. Silent pops it in the midfield, there to follow. Gets a touch up to Malo looking for it. But, Mr. Marino got demoed, but the Whelps were able to knock the ball away. Grebsy there for the shot, finds the pass from Jeff Masters. I wasn't even expecting that pass to come. Oh, well, okay. Now I see that it really didn't come from Jeff Masters. Threat with the mistouch.
Yeah, mistouch there by Threat, putting it right in front of his own neck. A little bit of an unfortunate, as you did have, like you said, Jeff Masters breathing down his neck, trying to get that toward the middle, and it ended up working in his favor. So, we are going to Game 5 here, Psycho, as Mallow types in chat, told him to throw for content. So, who knows? Maybe we got some throwing going on to force a Game 5. Maybe he's just saying that to make himself look a little better. But either way, going to a Game 5 after a third consecutive overtime. What are you expecting here in Game 5, Psycho? And, who do you think is ultimately going to take this Game 5?
It's really hard to say, and both of these teams are just playing so good. It's been a back and forth. And I think, honestly, even though it hasn't been a trend here in this series, I think who's going to take this is the team that scores first here tonight in this game number 5. I think whoever scores first is going to get the mental boost. They're going to get the morale boost, and the other team is going to be nipping at their heels for the rest of the rest of this match.
Yeah, and I think you might be right here. Looks like we got a little bit of a mishap. Someone got stuck or something. I don't quite know what that means.
I think Mr. Silent fell prey to that that glitch that happens from time to time when you join, where it just kind of puts you to the side of the arena, but it doesn't let you actually do anything.
Yeah, that glitch. Yeah, I forgot. Rocket League's been full of glitches ever since the big update last season, especially with the private matches. So that doesn't surprise me, but we'll get everyone joined back up into the new lobby here, and we'll get started underway pretty shortly. But back to your point, Psycho, first goal of this Game 5, I think you're right. I think whoever scores first in this Game 5 ultimately will end up taking this game and taking this series and potentially putting himself in a position to take sole possession or at least have the tiebreaker for that number 1 seed. So I'm really excited to see how this is going. I expect it to be close nonetheless, possibly even another overtime game as we've seen the last 3 head that way. But I'm just really excited to see this match and really see who is able to finish out strong in this Game 5, because that's going to be a huge telltale heading into the rest of the season and into playoffs on, the mental capacity and the mental ability of these teams.
Yeah, big facts. And I just checked the reporting, and Frost still hasn't played. So we still
I've been
don't
watching
have.
that too. I've been trying to
Yeah.
get that update, but Frost still has yet to be reported yet. So,
still a lot in the air right now for this match.
Still a lot in the air. Exactly. It's not quite guaranteed for anyone who wins where they're going to be sitting. So, we'll see what happens.
We certainly will, and it looks like Grebsy's letting us know that the Whelps are ready to go whenever the Pawns are. I think it looks like the Pawns have joined, at least Mr. Silence joined, so hopefully we'll be getting this back up and going for you, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as possible. Again, if you're just joining us or if you're just getting back, we are in the Novice League. Pawns versus the Whelps. Both of these teams are 10-4. Both of these teams are fighting for the number 1 seed, the possibility of clinching the number 1 seed in the playoffs here tonight. We are in game number 5. So bring the hype in the chat if you're in the chat. Game number 5, Whelps versus the Pawns. The winner of this match goes home. The winner of this game goes home the victor here. Possible number 1 seed for the playoffs, which would be huge here in the Novice League. Jeff Masters just trying to get up in the offensive play. He gets a touch to get the ball out. The Pawns to keep it in threat. Coming out of the corner, Mr. Marino with the flick. Can't get it through Malo, but he does get the bump. Opens the lane for Grebsy, who gets a long shot, but Malo there to make the save. Grebsy almost with a huge redirect right there. His shot hitting the post, unfortunately, is Mr. Marino getting it through some defenders, the whole team, dare I say, but Jeff Masters comes in to finish it.
Yeah, great solo play there by Mr. Marino, unable to finish it off, but Jeff Masters, yet again, having his teammates back in this series, and this one, a really, really big one, giving them the early 1-0 lead here in Game 5. And just a little heads up for those of you all wondering, I don't know series scores or anything, but I do know Frost is currently playing their match right now, so that reporting, could be coming out anytime as well.
Coming out at any point in time, but they could be in game number 1, to be fair, and we might still have to wait another 30 minutes. We won't know, but what is important is Malo trying to keep the Pawns alive, getting a shot that's gonna go wide. Threat in the midfield. Threat still sticking with it. Grebsy gets in front of it. The ball is dangerously floating in front of Whelps. Malo there for the shot, gets it past the defender, ties things up with 3:33 left on the clock.
And that is huge for Malo and the Pawns, as plenty of time left. Didn't really let that sink in that the Whelps scored, and they fired right back. Back at an even scoreline here. And, I know we said whoever was going to score first had the advantage, but with how quickly they turned around and they were able to force that goal and tie it back up, I think it's, at this point, it's whoever scores next.
Yeah, it could
that's
be
the big thing right now.
Yeah, and it could be, and I think you're right. It's with how fast they clap back, but Mr. Marino once again gonna come through. What a huge shot from the Whelps right there. They're gonna take the lead with over 3 minutes left.
And again, talk about clapping back. Mr. Marino said, "You want to score? We'll take the lead right back." Boom, there it is, giving them the lead. Still plenty of time left, and it looks like we're heading into, what was that, Game 2, Psycho, where they had a high-scoring game, and they kept scoring back and forth, one each. So, we're looking for another really crazy, intense game here in game number 5. And I hope it goes OT, because this series, if I've ever seen a series that deserves to go OT, it's this one.
And at that point, it'll be 4 out of 5 of these games that will have gone to OT. Mr. Silent doing everything that he can to keep that ball out from in front of his net, but 4 out of 5 games of OT speed, that sounds amazing. Like I don't recall. I'm sure there has been some matches, but I don't recall, at least on stream, there being a match that has gone 4 out of 5 or even 5 out of 5 OTs.
Yeah, it's really rare as, we're seeing a Rule 1 here between
Rule 1.
Jeff Masters and Threat, leaving a 2v2 here, and that's, I don't know if that's a good thing here for the Pawns. It all depends on how much of a twos player they are, but Whelps looking to make something happen, trying to take advantage. So, Pawns really got to make something happen here, as Mallow and Mr. Silent are going to capitalize on that 2v2 situation here, Psycho.
Looks like they might be more accustomed to the twos, as Whelps were very close to each other, and in a 2v2 situation like that, you definitely want to put some space in between yourself and your teammate. As we just saw, they got beat out pretty much at the same time, leaving the net open. Pawns tying things up. That Rule 1 or Rule 2, depending on who you're talking to, playing in favor of the Pawns. And Threat with the touch in the midfield. Mr. Silent getting the pot shot, but it's going to go over. Jeff Masters there. Nobody else from the Pawns to capitalize. Jeff Masters and Mr. Marino going to give a little love tap in the corner. Working out for the Whelps, but Threat is there. Gets the pop up. Jeff Masters to take away from him. Jeff Masters gets it out, but immediately demoed. Grebsy in a 50 with Malo. Jeff Masters is up, misses the touch. The ball is floating in the midfield. Mr. Marino not decided if he wants to go for it. Takes his time, gets the touch off a Threat. Mr. Silent to send away the ball. 1 minute left on this game. Speed. We're still tied at 2, and I cannot see a clear advantage in either of these teams. It seems like they've both slowed down, and they're almost like they're trying to get it to the OT.
I think so. We already had talks about throwing for content. Maybe there's a little truce going on here to, stall this one out, force OT, make the best team win on the golden goal. But no, Mr. Marino's going to say no overtime here. I don't want any of that, and he's going to give the Whelps the late 1-goal lead.
Yeah, and Grebsy missing that shot might have played out for the Whelps right there. Pawns probably putting at least a little respect on his name, seeing him go up for the ball, expecting him to get a touch. He doesn't. Mr. Marino just coming from the backfield with a banger on the net the Pawns were not ready for. And he does take the lead for the Whelps in the final 30 seconds of this match, down to 15 now. Pawns have to do something right here, right now, or they will lose this game and lose their chance at the #1 seed in the playoffs. The final second winds down, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Whelps taking this win in game number 5. Not necessarily securing the first seed yet, as the Frost team has still not reported on their win or loss, but definitely upping their chances of securing that #1 seed in the playoffs. And Speed, they definitely deserve it. They've had a fantastic season.
Yeah, they really have, and it's nice to see them get back on the winning side of things. Whelps, well deserved. It could have gone the other way to the Pawns too. Great series overall. I'm looking at a potential grand finals matchup right there. And if that is, what happens to be the Novice grand finals, I wouldn't be upset. Not if the series is going to look like that.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. That was a great series all the way to a game 5, 3 overtimes, 3 out of 5 overtimes. You'll love to see it. Both of those teams firing on all cylinders, putting on a spectacular show, especially for the Novice League. Gotta love the Novice League. They always put on a good show, except for, when they're doing novice moment things. It happens, but when they pop, it is jaw-dropping. And that was a good match. Like you said, Speed, I think you hit the nail on the head. If that's the grand finals, yeah, they showing up. They're going to give us some good content.
Yes, indeed. And a little bit of an update before we do get ready to go. Word on the street is it's in game 3 between Frost and Genesis, and 1-1 is the series score. So, little birdie on the street giving me a little updates to give you guys live info. So we'll see. Keep your eye out on that. to figure out who's going to lock up that 1 seed at the end of tonight's novice matches. But, we still got a lot of work left to go. We got 3 big games left to end the season after tonight, all divisional games. Anything can happen. A lot of seeding will change from here on out.
True. Yeah, we are in the most exciting portion of this season. Season number 7, getting close to the play-ins, playoffs. It's going to be fantastic. Quick shout out to Goff, who resubbed 23 months. One more month, Goff, and you're at 2 years, big boy. That's good stuff. You love to see it. All the love from the community, ladies and gentlemen. That wraps us up here tonight at the Nemesis Gaming League. That's 3 bangers for you, 3 great matches, and we are going to be back Wednesday night with 3 more Rock'em Sock'em Rocket League robot stuff. Put it up. It's going to be great. I don't know, Speed. It was a good one tonight, and it's going to be good next Wednesday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here tonight. It was a fantastic. Speed, thank you for joining me in the booth. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.